Hi and welcome to the Real Estate Talk auction update for the week ending 13th of September. This update is brought to you by CoreLogic. I am Eliza Owen, Head of Research at CoreLogic Australia. For the combined capital cities, the preliminary clearance rate was 67% in the week ending 13th of September. This is pretty much steady on what we saw in the preliminary result last week. However, auction volumes are coming down. Over the week ending 13th of September, we saw 823 properties scheduled for auction. This is down from 866 scheduled in the week prior and well below the volume that we saw in the equivalent week of 2019, when over 1,600 properties were scheduled for auction. The preliminary clearance rate is based on a collection rate so far of 80%. Now, we've observed that between the preliminary clearance rate and the final clearance rate, there's about 6 percentage points. So I would expect that this result will be revised down probably to that low 60s range as well. Auction numbers fell to a new low across the Melbourne market. We saw that there were just 14 properties scheduled for auction over the week. 3 of those were successful, but all 3 were sold prior to auction. Meanwhile, we collected a further 8 results, but we saw that those had all been withdrawn. Now, those withdrawn properties were weighing down the auction clearance rate. So the preliminary clearance rate has come out at just 27% for the week. Over the previous week, there were 28 homes scheduled for auctions, and in the equivalent week of 2019, we actually saw 826 properties that were scheduled for auction. So it makes sense that in the continuation of stage 4 lockdowns, we would see very subdued auction numbers. Across Sydney, things have been more stable. We saw that there were 606 scheduled auctions for the week. This is higher than the equivalent week in 2019. But what's interesting is it is quite a bit lower than the 706 scheduled auctions we saw in the week ending 30th of August this year. So that just goes to show that that week was really a lot more vendors trying to test the market as we came to the start of the spring selling season. Of the 507 results we've collected so far, 70% were successful. This is more or less steady on what we saw from last week's preliminary result. If we look to the past 4 weeks, the final clearance rate has averaged about 64%. Across the smaller markets, Canberra recorded the highest preliminary clearance rate of 83% across 47 auction results. This was followed by Adelaide with a preliminary clearance rate of 76% across 29 results. Focusing in on Sydney, where most auctions took place, we saw the highest clearance rate across the northern beaches, with a preliminary clearance rate of 79% across 56 observations. The highest volume of auctions was in the North Sydney and Hornsby region, where there were 111 scheduled auctions. Based on 92 results, we also saw a fairly strong preliminary clearance rate there of about 73%. The lowest auction clearance rate for the Sydney region over the week was Sutherland, where we saw a clearance rate of 54% off of 26 results. Now, let's have a look at some of the sales from the weekend.
Thanks, Eliza. Well, top sale for the weekend was this 4-bedroom home in Manly, sold by Luke, Ashley and Josh from Red Property for $3,400,000. It's a freestanding home offering the opportunity to make something incredible in this coveted area of Sydney. Currently configured as 2 separate duplex-like properties, each level with its own private access. Upstairs, 3 bedrooms and all facilities, and downstairs, separate 1-bedroom self-contained accommodation. Brisbane now, in the home of one of our great Olympic swimmers, sold by Christine Rudolph from Ray White New Farm for $3,055,000.
If you've ever aspired to be part of the winner's circle, this is one of Brisbane's most elite riverfront addresses and the family home of world champion Olympic swimmer Madam Butterfly Susie O'Neill.
Congratulations to all the agents achieving success for their sellers over the weekend. Our thoughts too to all those in Victoria. We trust to see you bounce back real soon. And now, here's Eliza to recap.
Overall, there's some interesting dynamics taking place across the different capital cities that really relate to the number of COVID-19 cases, the level of government stringency, and the impact that those factors have on consumer confidence. It makes sense that we would see very subdued numbers in auctions across Melbourne with the continuation of stage 4 restrictions. But interestingly, in New South Wales and in the Sydney auction market, we're seeing volumes decline there as well, which could signify the fact that there is a bit of a dampening on consumer confidence based on what's happening with Melbourne. And even though we don't have the same restrictions on the auction method, less vendors may be willing to take their property to auction. In the smaller markets, we're seeing, price increases. We're seeing the clearance rate come out at quite a strong level. So a different dynamic there again. Ultimately, I'd say for our larger auction markets, it won't be an improvement in volumes and the clearance rate until we see the virus is well contained and restrictions start to lift. So thank you so much for watching this auction update. Tune in next week and we'll have another one there for you as well. Thanks and have a great week.